Hi there, happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Love Thyself channel. Don't pay attention to all of this. I'm going to have a whole self-care pamper session after I do this video. I broke out with a zit. I'm like, I'm so old. How am I getting a zit? But anyway, I'm going to do a facial, take care of myself. So the ultimate form of self-care, self-love, pamper yourself. Do it from time to time. So anyway, on with the topic for this week. So the topic is going to be on a workplace scenario. And it's for those of us that have been micromanaged at work or that are currently dealing with someone that's micromanaging them now. So it's tough, it's frustrating, it's upsetting when you're being micromanaged, right? Because you feel like you've somewhat lost your independence. And then micromanagement gets into your head. So knowing that it gets into your head, that lets you know that it's 100% a mindset thing, right? So micromanagement feels like an attack on your autonomy, also your confidence, as well as your competence. But the truth is, you decide how much power their behavior has over you. Just know that your mindset will shape your entire experience. So I have 4 points to bring up that will be somewhat of a strategy to help you deal with if you're dealing with a micromanager at work. The first thing to keep in mind, first point is keep in the back of your mind that your time is an exchange. So in other words, it has an expiration date. Whatever time that you're at work, you're not going to be there days on end. It has to end at some point. It has an expiration date, right? So when you're at work, simply put, you are trading your time for compensation, right? So your shift has a beginning and an end. If you are someone that's on call, don't think about what's going on until you have to clock back in and be engaged with whatever workflow you have to do. But that's when your peace and their overreach stops, when that time has expired, right? So when you think of it this way, micromanagement loses that emotional weight that it should have never had on you. So that's the first thing. It's a time exchange, and that has an expiration date when you're at work. Number 2, this is the most important one. Keep everything policy and procedure. What do I mean by that? So you become very familiar with your employee handbook, with your mission statement, and that will serve as a protection for you later, like a shield even, right? So when you understand your employee handbook, you understand the workflow, you understand your rights, and you move with confidence to avoid any unnecessary correction, right? Again, that policy becomes your shield, especially when someone is hovering very closely. And then do everything in with documentation. So you'll have some managers that want to call you and say, do this, do that, make sure that you follow it up with an email, a text message, whatever communication platform that your employer uses to say, hey, I just want to go ahead and clarify that you were asking me to do ABC. Then I was noticing in the employee handbook, XYZ is mentioned. Make sure you always protect yourself. And the reason why I say this, because I don't know if you've ever heard of this saying, it's not what you can say, it's what you can prove. And there are some managers that will not be above board, and they will never want to answer you in writing, right? They will never want to respond to your email. They'll not want to respond to your text message. They may be trying to hide something. Think, why is this person always trying to get me to do something in writing? And they may even come to you and talk to you about it, and then just blame it on yourself. Never let anyone know your plan for protection. Your protection is for you, not for them, right? You don't have to give them a dissertation on how you're protecting yourself. So you would just respond and say, hey, you know what? I just normally use it as reference material for myself to make sure that I know best practice when other situations come up. I don't have to bother management. I have, best practices in place. So just blame it on yourself. Never let them know what you're going to be doing, but make sure the communication is clear. Give them a response, a part of a SEAL's Core 4, that you put the ball back in their court, right? You always go ahead and give your communication, get that out of the way. So the third point is don't take micromanagement personally, right? A micromanager's behavior is normally some kind of discomfort that they have, some kind of insecurity, or maybe something else is going on internally, but it has less to do with your skill set. That's something that's going on with them, right? So whatever they're dealing with, not that you're not sympathetic, which you're probably not, but that is their problem. It is not your problem. Your problem is to be the best that you can at work while dealing with this stressful situation that eventually will get easier and easier if you go ahead and take some strategies to relieve the pressure. So your job is to stay grounded at work, stay professional, and then refuse to let someone else's anxiety rewrite your value, right? So a lot of times when you have some bosses that are like this, they will cross moral lines, ethical lines, sometimes legal boundaries. Remember, anytime you feel that your dignity or your rights have been infringed upon, once again, you get this in writing, dates, times, communicate it, but make sure that you move with in stealth mode so no one knows what you're doing, but make sure that you're following that policy and procedure, because at the end of the day, you have something to point out in writing to say, hey, I did A, B, and C, so what's the problem? You know what I mean? So make sure that you're always doing what you have to do to make sure that it's not on you, right? Never let it be on you. Number 4, be proactive with about any expectations that they have over you. So let's say, so this will be like the least intimidating and the most freeing, right? Because you can't control them, right? But you can totally control your clarity and your understanding over the situation. So ask for any expectations early, right, from them. Say, hey, what are your expectations? What do you like to see? When you want me to, as far as a deadline, what time limit did you want me to give you updates? Make sure that you know all of this, document it. So this prevents them from hovering over you. Sometimes they're going to be a jerk. They're going to do it anyway. But as long as you have those expectations, you can go and make sure, once again, once they give it to you, sometimes they may not give it in writing. If they don't, follow it up in writing, right? So you're doing your part, right? So make sure that you always get stuff in writing. So communicate your plan to them, what you plan on doing. And also give like little small check-ins before they even have a chance to hover. So proactive communication puts you in the driver's seat, right? So that means that you're managing your workflow and you're not reacting to those constant interruptions and constant interjections. So again, if someone is micromanaging you at work, it will be okay. Quick story. I remember when, before I got married to my husband, he works in the field. He did work in the field. And, he pretty much always liked his job because it was always, someplace different to go or whatever. Anyway, he got a new boss. He hated it. This guy was like, an extreme micromanager, and he was like sort of condescending with it. Those are like the worst types. So I told him, part of what I just explained in this video, but the one thing that got him out was policy and procedure. He was always on time. He was where he was supposed to be. He followed, what he was told. If it was something that he was being told that he believed was outside of policy and procedure, he brought up the contract and say, hey, you're asking me to do something different than the contract. People don't like that because then it's on them. So he started like, okay, wait a minute. This guy seems like he's getting like a documentation trail on me or whatever. Then he says, hey, do you have all this written down? He said, I just make notes for myself. There's nothing like, company public or anything. It's just for my own reference. But doing things like this will literally preserve your sanity and have you at ease with dealing with someone that's a micromanager. It won't even be a thing anymore. So for those of you that are dealing with a micromanager, try to follow some of these strategies. Hopefully it helps. Keep your cool. Just know that everything has an expiration date. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday and a great rest of your week. Take care and be well.